Hey, Pledman here. So it's been 6 days. I posted 3 videos. I'm only gonna post 1 video today. Son's doing awesome. My wife's doing better. She had 10 days of being not well. Don't know what it was. Wasn't the flu, wasn't COVID. Went to the medical doctors, the experts, and they couldn't tell us what's going on because it seems here, based on our stuff, we don't know. Anyways, neither here nor there. Sorry, important in my life, not in yours. So I'm gonna do a little bit of clout chasing because I posted a video about Charlie Kirk, and a lot of people watched. Hey, thank you for coming, those of you who watched, and those of you who came back. Because this is actually about Charlie Kirk, and about Candace Owens, and about the FBI, and about the, well, not so much about the CIA. Also about the Y files. Fun fact. I just, as a sidebar, check out the WHY files on YouTube. Totally amazing. I'd also suggest you check out Candace Owens. I'd also suggest you check out, I think it's Cancel This. Ah, gosh, I'm so sorry, bro. Cancel This Co. is the name of his company. I can't remember the name. But anyways, there's 2 people, that guy and Candace, that I feel are adamantly attacking this Charlie Kirk situation in the best way. And they're doing it from totally different ends of the spectrum. They're not coordinating with each other. They are 2 separate entities that are trying to kind of understand it from their own perspectives, from their own thing. One, Cancel This. I'm so sorry, bro. I love you. I watch a lot of your stuff. I'm not on TikTok, but I watch your stuff via Facebook or whatever, other things. So he's attacking it from just like a curiosity standpoint. And frankly, he's amazing because he talks about a lot of stuff that's unhealthy. Like if you go to the grocery, he became very, I want to say, famous because he would go to the grocery store and be like, look, all these are owned by big corp, and these are the small family-owned, operated stuff. And it's bugging my wife because I'll talk about like, hey, babe, we should get this, we should get this. And she just does her eye rolls, as is her wont. I understand. I get that. But also from my standpoint, I'm like, yeah, but like we want healthier things. Like, and we don't trust big companies to do that. Which is a sad state of affairs, which I'm going to make a separate video. It's been boiling in my head. Corporations are the problem, yada, 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 and how, and the solutions, and it's there. It's percolating for the record. It's just, I haven't figured out how to, like, quite quantify it for myself. And usually I want to, like, argue it out so it makes sense before I, like, bring it up. But anyways, I'm not going to lie. I saw the sheer volume of people. I mean, considering normal amount of people who watch a video is like 2. And then one of my videos about Charlie Kirk was 348. And I was like, oh, interesting. And that being said, I have more to say. Sorry, took 3 minutes and a half, almost 4 minutes to get there. So simply put, here's where we're at. Charlie Kirk was assassinated, murdered, killed, whatever word you want to use. You have Candace on one end. She's a friend of him and is asking for truth. And I've been listening or watching her videos. Listening to her podcast or watching her videos. Both. I haven't seen every single one, but I'm up to date. And what it seems like is she's doing the right thing. She's basically calling it out based on the data that she has. And I will say this, every time I watch her videos, and this is with respect, but also just a bit of cheekiness, there's a funny thing of like, hey, you know what? All women, how come, like, why are most archaeologists women? It's because women are really good at digging stuff up. And hey, how come there isn't more female detectives? Because if you just made all detectives female, they'd solve everything like that. Especially if you're like, oh yeah, this guy, this murderer, he also messed with your friend Becky. And they're like, bam, know who the murderer is, bam, done. Okay, what's next? Now, joking aside, what I love is it seems like Candace has this bone, and now she's got 2, frankly. She's got Macron, the French Prime Minister's French Prime Minister, his wife is actually supposedly a male, or originally was a male and is now a female, whatever. So she's got that bone that she's still gnawing on. With respect, she's presented a lot of interesting data that makes it kind of arguable that she's correct. And then now she has this new bone, which is one of her really good friends was assassinated and killed. And she's got that bone, and she is gnawing all the way to the marrow. And boy, oh boy, is she coming with facts and data and information. Now, I don't love how she presents it. Full disclosure. And then on top of that, she is making money off of doing this stuff, because you watch her hour-long thing, and then there's like 5 ads in there, which is better, because there's this other thing I listened to. It's like, dude, your thing is like 10 minutes long, and you have 4 minutes worth of ads? Jeez. But I get it. You know, these people need to make a living. I'm not knocking that. It's fine. You can skip it. It's whatever. And then the other perspective, you have this cancel this I can't remember his name. I'm so sorry. It's so annoying. Anyways. And he's presenting other data, and he's trying to, like, he was there on there afterwards, and he showed up. And here's some interesting things that I am disturbed by. It is really bad form to there was a shooting, and for those of you who didn't get it, it took me a bit to get it. Someone, I don't know who, someone decided to pave over where Charlie Kirk was shot. That is not a small thing. That's not like oh, yeah, we have pavers on standby who just, if somebody has a slushy spill, we just pave over it. No, that's a big deal. You hire a construction company. They have to have all the equipment. We're talking about like $5,000 to $10,000 worth of stuff. It takes at least a day. And then if you don't want it to look totally weird, you basically have to pull up. It can take weeks, frankly. I mean, I live in California. It could take a month. But if you're rushing it, and I don't know if it's because of government or because the stops were pulled, like the permits weren't needed or whatever, but this little slot where Charlie Kirk was murdered, suddenly there's no more evidence. And that's super weird, because in theory, if you have that caliber of bullet go through him, it should, maybe it would go on, I don't know, like lots of things would happen. You'd want to like map it off and like make sure everything was good and make sure we get all the data. Now, we can infer that the FBI has done, now, on one end of the spectrum, you have the FBI is doing everything they possibly can, and they're all good people, and they want to know who killed Charlie Kirk, okay? And they got every bit of information. They 3D mapped everything. Everything is in their thing. And the school is like, look, we just want to be clean of this. So it's not the place that Charlie Kirk was murdered. It is a clean spot. There's no weirdness about it. And I know the stigmatism is going to be weird for a while there, but since it's fresh and clean, then the stigma will eventually wipe away. That is a theory, okay? But I don't believe the government is capable of doing anything well, even if it's collecting taxes or killing people. Even those two simple things, they seem to mess up. So I don't believe that for a minute. What I will say is, okay, so that's one end of the spectrum. FBI's got it all under control. Problem is, there's a camera that they showed us a bit of footage of the guy running across the roof. You've probably seen it. If you haven't, you can check it out anywhere. The problem is it doesn't show him where the shot was taken. It just shows a person running across the roof. Supposedly the shooter. But why does the camera not show, why does the footage not show where the shot was taken? The shot being taken, in theory. And the simple answer is because they don't want you to see it. Now, my question is, okay, does the FBI have the footage and then not want you to see it? Or do they not have the footage and they can't really come to terms with explaining how they don't have the footage and they don't know why they don't have the footage? Because I'm willing to give Kash Patel and his cadre, the FBI, some leeway here. I'm willing to give him some rope and be like, look, this is a shitty situation, and it is possible that they don't have the information. It is also possible that there's double agents, or there's people in the FBI who really are singing to a different tune, and so therefore they hide footage. Or, you know, it could be like, hey, we went and we got the footage as soon as possible, and that footage was missing. Like that part, that 1/8 of footage, like, you know, this whole thing, right? This whole thing right here, and then this part of it where the shot was taken, that's missing. But all this part with the guy running across, all that's there. We showed you that. But this part right here, that's missing. And I kind of fathom that. But then I'll be like, why is it missing? Explain that. And this is the issue that I have with the FBI. They are so in the rears on trust. Like, so much so. And they've been wrong so many times that, in my opinion, their only real solution from this point forward, until such time as they've proven that they can kind of do it, is basically going back to the old ways, which is, and now it's a lot easier, where you're like, cool, we're going to give all the information, and we're going to coordinate with private individuals and their information, like Candace and like this other guy, about, hey, Brian, I can't remember his name. I'll think of it as soon as it's over. I'm like, oh, this guy. Anyways, they'll coordinate with those type of people and be like, hey, here's the information, and it'll be put out. But as it stands now, the only solution I can really see for the FBI is you need to release all of the data that you have, just all of it, and you need to do it in a time, at this 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 time, and it needs to be in a format and make it available for everyone. Cool, here you go. This is what we're doing. This is what we've done. You know, whatever. The problem is I don't trust any of this. I don't trust the video footage of him going across the thing. Oh, that's the shooter. There's a lot of weirdnesses about the gun, where it's like, oh, he broke down the gun, then ran across the thing, and I'm like, he doesn't have time to do that. Takes too long to break down the gun. And then it's like 3 seconds after shooting. It's like, you can't break down that gun in 3 seconds. And then he like jumped off the roof, went in the forest, laid the gun down, then came back, you know, got an ice cream at a Dairy Queen, and then came back and put it back together. And then he left it and then went and texted his boyfriend / girlfriend, whatever the hell, like giving all the specific details and talking totally not like a normal person, but talking like a police officer or someone in the military would talk in that situation. And then decided, you know, oh, I'm going to do a confession to my priest, and then my dad hears it or whatever, and they tell me I should go report to the police. And then, of course, and this is all stuff you can find with Candace and other people going into the details. But then, of course, like, yeah, the guy, his boyfriend was like, oh, yeah, I'll give, the FBI was like, oh, he just came in and gave us all the information. Well, in actual fact, they raided his house. They changed his locks, which is illegal, of course. And he wasn't really a part of it. And he's not really available for comment anymore. He's kind of disappeared. Weird. So nothing is overt. Nothing is upfront. Everything seems to be just lying and untruths. And to me, it points the finger at the bigger problem that we have. Is we have Charlie Kirk, who's a public figure, whose biggest outpoint is that I guess he's Christian, and I guess that he was trying to talk to people, and I guess some people didn't like some of the things he said. And I've heard a lot of things of people saying like, oh, he supported gun rights. And it's like, yeah, so do like more than like 75% of the American populace. Frankly, every American should support gun rights. If you don't support gun rights, like your right to own and bear a gun, then you probably should go into another country, because the rest of the world doesn't support it. So you're in like the one country in the world that is in our Constitution that you have a right to own and bear a gun. So if you don't like it, You have a whole world of places that you can live where you don't have that right. So it's so weird to me that you have this percentage of people that are like, oh, I don't like this. And it's like, then move. Then move. You don't have to be here. You are not forced to be an American. You're not forced to live here either. You can move. Air flying is not that hard. But then like, yeah, but Starbucks and this and this and this. Like, okay, yeah, but all the things that you have, all the things that you like, the cost, if you will, from your perspective is, yeah, no, people can have guns. And then people are like, oh, guns are killing people. It's like, no, if you put a gun in Central Park, it's not going to kill anyone. It'll just stay there. Any park, anywhere. It'll just stay there. It will be a problem when somebody picks it up and points it at someone and shoots them. That's a problem. Sure. But like generally guns are not bad. It's the people that use them are bad. And again, I don't know if I've actually said this or harped on this enough, but I will bring this up. Time and time again, you have assassinations or gun shootings, whatever, school shootings or other shootings. In my opinion, the actual boogeyman, the actual problem is psychiatry. And the simplicity of it is pretty much every shooter who is on record, and for the most part, you can't get the record because they'll do an autopsy, they'll do hey, these are the drugs in their system, and then they hide it. But for the most part, you can look for yourself. All shooters have been on psychiatric medication. All of them. And you look at the side effects and you're like, oh yeah, seeing weird things and blah, blah, feeling depressed and this and this and this. And all of those, it's like, yeah, having a shooter with that is not gun with ammunition and person who is psychotic, who, sees an enemy in all people. Probably not a good combination for anything positive. And we keep running into this again and again and again and again. And we keep, one side blames the gun and the other side it's like, it's not the gun. And it's like, no, the problem is what we're putting in these people's body. The problem is America is been basically bought and sold in pieces by numerous entities, one of which being the psychiatric industry, which is a huge, I think, many billions, close to $1 trillion industry. And they have tremendous sway. They do commercials everywhere. Like if you watch TV at all, you've seen their ads. And you listen to their ads and you're like, what? You're giving me a medication for this obscure thing that like a small percentage of people might have. And the side effects are vastly worse, like 10 times worse than any benefit I could get from this. And that's what you're promoting. But that's just one small thing. If you get into the world of psychiatry and what they're doing, and this is not me attacking psychology, because psychology in theory is just listening, sitting down, listening to someone, talking to someone. And I get, if you don't feel like you have someone to talking to a psychologist, cool. But psychiatry is a different thing because they'll do the same thing and they'll be like, cool, here's a drug for you. And then you take that drug and it perverts and changes your mind and your psyche inside. And it's negative. It's bad news bears. Now we get into the gnarly stuff, which is, so we already talked about FBI and their problem. So there is a possibility that part of the FBI might have facilitated the cover-up or even facilitated the doing this. Then you get this other thing, which is like this hey, Israel did this. On one hand, Candace Owens is like, hey, Charlie Kirk told me that he was changing his perspective on Israel. Not all of Israel, but on this idea that like, we're not going to talk about Israel at all. It's not going to be part of the conversation. And we support them to, okay, we don't really openly support them anymore. And we're going to open conversations about Israel and what's going on right now. Okay. Which is a big deal because Charlie Kirk's main thing was freedom of speech and like talking about things that we may not all have agreed on. And so that's a big thing. And she seems to have the receipts that it wasn't just her, but Charlie Kirk posted a thing to his group, to TPUSA, like, hey, we're going in a new direction, we're going to do this. And supposedly, a week before, there was several conversations, and people were trying to offer, tell Charlie Kirk, hey, let's not do this, let's not do this. And supposedly, the Israel/Jew community was going to pay him like $315 million, $300+ million, which is big, not him specifically, but TPUSA. So big funding. And to be fair, there's the other side of like, oh, well, Charlie Kirk was funded by Jews and by Israel from the get-go. And to an extent, yeah, I mean, they do lots of funding everywhere. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I bought an orange from a Jew. Does this make me like a Jew lover? Me not liking the orange because it's spoiled doesn't make me an anti-Semite either. It just means like it's about the orange. So Charlie Kirk's trying to do a thing, and people are like, we like this thing, we're going to give you money to do that thing. Okay. And he decided, based on the context of what's going on today, in present time, not 15 years ago when he started it, 15 general years, or, whatever, but present time, he posted a thing, and there is evidence of him basically having a changing of opinion, or more like a willingness to talk about a subject. And that's a big deal. And the fact that Candace was able to present the fact that is like, oh, great, thank you. Bravo, thank you. And it's fascinating to me all the people attacking her, because people are attacking her because it seems like she's blaming Israel. Now, I understand, and this is, I respect her for not like just out and out saying, oh, Israel's the cause of this. I'll say it. I think, if not Israel, I think that there is definitely an entity who was involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. They organized it. They blocked the footage. They did it was a nice, clean setup, frankly. They had a fake body double do this and do this. They had a person lined up to take the hit, to take the fall, a fall guy for it, and they kind of left it with FBI, like this nice, clean package. This is my opinion. And now the FBI and Kash Patel is kind of left holding the bag that's like spilling all over the place because it's a shit bag. It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't hold water. It's about as logical as what happened with the mainstream storyline behind 9/11, if you get into that. So FBI is holding this bag that's just, and they're like, none of this makes sense. And they're trying to sift through and have it make sense, but they're operating on the back foot. They have no good reputation. And what they need to do is just come out and say, this is all we know, which is a pitiful amount. And these are the facts of all the things, and just put it out there. And if they do that, yeah, Candace will have a field day. Yeah, this other guy will have a field day. Like, everyone's going to have a field day. But then that way you're out in front of it, and you're like, look, this is what we know. This is what we don't know. We're trying. We are trying. And frankly, any employer is going to be like, yeah, no, that's what I want an employee. I want you to try. And I am currently the employer of the FBI and the United States federal government. And you, every citizen watching that, you are the employer of the government. So you should be demanding and requesting and expecting them to give you information. And when they don't, you should take note of that and realize it again and again and again. Across the boards, they are continuously misleading and lying. And this idea of like either, well, we can't tell you because blah will happen, or, oh, well, you shouldn't know about that, or whatever bullshit reason they give you. You're entitled to know. Like, imagine you're a kid and your parents tell you the fun lie of like, hey, Santa's not real. Or, Santa's real, Tooth Fairy's real, this is real. At the end of every rainbow is like a golden pot, a thing of gold. And then later in life, like, you're like, okay, but that's not real, right? And they're like, no, it's real. And you're like, well, not really. And they're like, no, it is. Sorry, you just can't know the wholeness of it. But like, that's true. And you're like, that's ridiculous. And you would be annoyed at your parents for doing that. And that's the point. You should be annoyed at the Fed. You should be annoyed at the federal government, at the FBI, even Donald Trump for that matter. Like, you should be annoyed. Like, you should. It's annoying. It's upsetting. It is downright disrespectful, and it is borderline catastrophic, because something that should be black and white, like the murder of Charlie Kirk, is black and white objectively. Nobody really wanted this. There is a small segment of extreme leftists who are like, I don't care about this guy. He's a horrible person. Blah. I was like, okay, those people, good, get fired from your job at Starbucks or wherever you're working, because clearly you're a bad person. But aside from those people, nobody else wanted this. So why is the FBI just fumbling the bag so much? It feels like they're fumbling an empty bag. It's just, when there's other people getting way better results and way better data out to us. All this is to say, and this is, I feel like I'm saying enough that it's becoming a normal thing, is you're responsible for the government. You're responsible for the local government, for the state government, and for the federal government. You are responsible for everything that goes on your street, everything up to the federal government. It is your responsibility. Yours, your loved ones, everything is your responsibility, okay? The fact that we've delegated responsibility to different forms of governments and things like that, okay. But the fundamental thing is, it is your responsibility. So it's your responsibility to know about it, and to do something about it, and to think about it, and to talk about it, and to question about it. Ask questions. Even if they seem stupid, it's fine. Ask, be informed, question everything. Don't assume you know anything. Because to the extent that you ask questions, you're bothering to care about something. Because it's not just a today problem, it's a tomorrow problem. It's your kid's problem in 10 years, 5 years, 20 years down the road, 100 years down the road. It might be your grandkid's problem, okay? So if you haven't even started thinking about these things, you should. Because to the extent that you do, you can start coming up with solutions. Because we're all smart individuals in our own way. If you think of a problem, we always think of solutions. But if you're not thinking about the problem, then you can't think of a solution. So that's it for now. Is keeping attention to what's happening with the Charlie Kirk stuff, because it's very important. Keep listening to other people. Keep listening to the FBI. But question everything. And I've heard a lot of stuff about like extreme conspiracy theories. There was a trap door. Charlie Kirk's still alive. There might be a back shooter. I don't even know. There's so much stuff out there. So don't get too down the rabbit hole. Here's the simple thing, is the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS principle. So if it doesn't pass the KISS principle, it probably didn't happen. Because people, when they're doing bad things, tend to be really incompetent. And this was objectively a bad thing. Now, maybe they had a really good justification and that's why they could do it. I don't know, maybe. There's a lot of organizations. Israel is one of them. FBI is another one. CIA is another one. The US government's another one. Who are really good at assassinating people and like hiding it. It wouldn't surprise me if it was any of those groups. Or all of them. Or some of them. Or whatever. And I want to get into this other thing, and it's very important. The importance of the individual. So imagine you're a contractor and you're hired to go and dig up and replace this place where Charlie Kirk was killed. Now you're paid, let's say it costs $10,000 and they pay you $20,000 to get it done right now. I'm not telling you how to run your business, because you should run your business and be successful. Maybe they threaten you. Maybe they threaten your family. Maybe you just need the money. Maybe they just hired you because you were fresh and you didn't know what the hell you're talking about. Maybe they vetted you because you didn't know. I don't know. But also the workers. Like, you guys hid evidence, inevitably. And then it goes across the boards with everyone. I'm trying to think of other examples, but like, there is a plethora of examples. You could look at the World Trade Center. Like, hey, the people who took all of the world. Fun fact, if you didn't know this, they took all the World Trade Center, both of them. They put them in shipping containers, shipped them over to this certain area, and then they shipped them over to a ship and dumped them in the middle of the ocean. That's what happened with the World Trade Center. They didn't do a London Bridge thing of like, hey, you can take this and here's a piece of the World Trade Center, which would have made sense. No. They shipped it out in the middle of the United States via truck, and then they shipped it over and dumped it in the ocean. Why? I don't know. I can guess. I can hypothesize. But what's interesting to me is that a company did that, and employees who drove trucks did that, and maybe they didn't know what they were doing, and that's fine. But understand that there is going to be a reckoning where you will be responsible for your actions. And you should assume, it doesn't have to be religious, it doesn't have to be God, but you should assume if you were to look at and tell your children, hey, I did this for money because I needed money. Is that really going to fly? When things are good, is it really going to fly? Are you able to really confront? Are you really able to talk to your significant other like, well, I did this horrible thing because money? I don't know. This went way longer than expected, but it's something to really look at. Is like each of us are responsible for ourselves, for our loved ones, and then beyond that. So your actions have consequences, even if you're contributing in a small part. This is the problem. This is why I never really did the military. I have tremendous respect for the military, but this concept of like, oh, just to take orders. Like, okay. Well, yeah, I'll do this. It makes sense. Like, can you explain it to me? Just do it because I said to. Like, no, I'm not going to kill this guy just because you said to. What the hell? Like, why? Why am I killing him? Why am I not capturing him? I can capture him. Now, if he's trying to kill me, that's a different thing. Obviously, I'm going to protect myself and my squad mates. That's different. But, like, we need people who know how to think and when to think. At least when to think. So start by asking why. Start by asking who benefits. That's it for now. Play out. Bye-bye.